Start with Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava. Okay. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Vishnupada Paramansa Parivrajakatarya Ashtottara Satashi Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishnupada Paramansa Parivrajakatarya Ashtottara Satashi Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhari Sivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Shri Shri Krishna Palaram Ki Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai Shri Srinivasa Govinda Ki Jai Shri Prahlad Narsingadev Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, Prahlada, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu, text number 14. Yatha Brahmayati Ayo Brahman Yatha Brahmayatyayo Brahman. Yatha Brahmayatyayo Brahman. Swayam Akarsha Sannidhau. Swayam Akarsha Sannidhau. Swayam Akarsha Sannidhau. Tatha me bhidyate chetas. Tatha me bhidyate chetas. Tatha me bhidyate chetas. Chakra Panir Yadrichaya. Chakra Panir Yadrichaya. Chakra Panir Yadrichaya. Yatha Brahmayatyayo Brahman. Swayam Akarsha Sannidhau. Tatha me bhidyate chetas. Chakrapanir yadrichaya. Yatha Brahmayatyayo Brahman. Swayam Akarsha Sannidhau. Tatha me bhidyate chetas. Chakrapanir yadrichaya. Some of the audience can lead. Yatha, just as Brahmyati moves, Ayaha and Brahman, Brahmanas, Swayam itself, Akarsha of a magnet, Sannidhau in the proximity, Tatha similarly, me, my, Bhidyate is changed, Chetaha consciousness, Chakrapanehe of Lord Vishnu who has a disc in his hand, Yadrichaya simply by the will. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O Brahmanas, teachers, as iron attracted by a magnetic stone moves automatically toward the magnet, my consciousness, having been changed by his will, is attracted by Lord Vishnu, who carries a disc in his hand. Thus, I have no independence. Kindly repeat. O Brahmanas, teachers, as iron attracted by a magnetic stone moves automatically toward the magnet. My consciousness, having been changed by His will, is attracted by Lord Vishnu, who carries a disc in his hand. Thus, I have no independence. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. For iron to be attracted by a magnet is natural. Similarly, for all living entities to be attracted toward Krishna is natural. And therefore, the Lord's real name is Krishna, meaning He who attracts everyone and everything. The typical examples of such attraction are found in Vrindavan, where everything and everyone is attracted by Krishna. The elderly persons like Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi, the friends like Sridama, Sudama, and the other cowherd boys, the gopis like Srimati Radharani and her associates, and even the birds, beasts, cows, and calves are attracted. The flowers and fruits in the gardens are attracted. The waves of the Yamuna are attracted. And the land, sky, trees, plants, animals, and all other living beings are attracted by Krishna. This is the natural situation of everything in Vrindavan. Just contrary to the affairs of Vrindavan is the material world, where no one is attracted by Krishna and everyone is attracted by Maya. This is the difference between the spiritual and material worlds. Hiranyakashipu, who was in the material world, was attracted by women and money, whereas Prahlad Maharaj, being in his natural position, was attracted by Krishna. In replying to Hiranyakashipu's question about why Prahlad Maharaj had a deviant view, Prahlad said that his view was not deviant, for the natural position of everyone is to be attracted by Krishna. Hiranyakashipu found this view deviant. Prahlad said, because of being naturally unattracted by Krishna. Hiranyakashipu therefore needed purification. As soon as one is purified of material contamination, he is again attracted by Krishna. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam. In the material world, everyone is contaminated by the dirt of sense gratification and is acting according to different designations. Sometimes as a human being, sometimes a beast, sometimes a demigod or tree, and so on. One must be cleansed of all these designations. Then one will be naturally attracted to Krishna. The bhakti process purifies the living entity of all unnatural attractions. When one is purified, he is attracted by Krishna and begins to serve Krishna instead of serving Maya. This is his natural position. A devotee is attracted by Krishna, whereas a non-devotee, being contaminated by the dirt of material enjoyment, is not. This is confirmed by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 28. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandvamoha nirmukta bhajante mam dhridavrataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. One must be freed from all the sinful dirt of material existence. Everyone in this material world is contaminated by material desire. Unless one is free from all material desire, anyabhilashita shunyam, one cannot be attracted by Krishna. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha namo vishnupadaya krishna presthaya bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyate Desatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mokam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham mande Shri Guram Deenataranam. So today's verse we are seeing, these are words spoken by Prahlad Maharaj in response to the question by his teachers. His teachers, Shanda and Amarka, the sons of Shukracharya, questioned Prahlad Maharaj that from where did he learn this Krishna consciousness? From how did he get attracted to Krishna? Because the teachers had been very particular under the mandate of Hiranyakashipu to be very careful that the children in the school would have no exposure to Krishna at all, no exposure to God, no exposure to spirituality. They should be taught only about the ways of increasing the economic status of the society, how to subdue one's enemies, how to keep people under subjugation, etc. Totally secular school. But despite all the secular efforts, in fact, this was Hiranyakashipu's school was probably the first secular school in the world. So despite all their attempts, Prahlad Maharaj became Krishna conscious. Actually, we can draw a parallel in this today's world also. All the schools, colleges, institutions, they don't want the children to learn anything about God. But still, some people become God-loving, they develop faith in God, which is something which is bewildering to the people. And that is why they say, like somebody was sharing the other day, that we are brainwashing the children. So exactly like Hiranyakashipu also had the same view about Prahlad Maharaj. Hiranyakashipu told Prahlad Maharaj, you are a deviant. You are not conforming to the normal societal norms. So when people see us, that's the same thing they tell us. You are all brainwashed. You are all not conforming to what the normal society is. You are all abnormal people. Whereas just like Prahlad Maharaj, we will tell them, you are the people whose brain is washed. You are the people who are non-conforming to the actual normal position, natural position, what you should be doing. So, the natural position of a living entity, as Prabhupada is so wonderfully mentioning in the purport, is to be attracted to Krishna. Every living entity, doesn't matter whether one is a human being, animal, plant, whatever it is, every living entity's natural position is to be attracted by Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, there is a description of how the living entities in Vraja, which Prabhupada has described in the purport, how the living entities in Vraja were attracted to Krishna. The attraction for Krishna was so strong, it is so intense in Vraja, that living entities attain opposite natures. That means whatever is their normal nature, that is, they start behaving opposite to that nature. So in one verse, which is sung by actually the gopis, when they saw Krishna going, herding all the calves and the cows to the forest, they looked upon Krishna and they spoke a few verses. One of the verses, very interesting, how they describe how the living entities attain opposite natures. So the verse goes like this: Ga gopakair anuvanam nayator udara venusvanaihi kalapadais tanubritsu sakhyaha aspandanam gatimatam pulakastarunam niryoga pashakrita lakshanayor vichitram. The translation is, my dear friends, as Krishna and Balaram pass through the forest with their cowherd friends, leading their cows. And how are Krishna and Balaram going? They are dressed in a particular way. They carry the ropes which are meant to tie the legs of the cows when the cows are to be milked. And when Krishna takes the cows along with him, he plays on his flute. And when he plays on his flute, what happens? Aspandanam gatimatam. Gatimata means the living entities which are moving. Animals, birds, all these living entities, human beings, we are all chara or we are gatimatam. We can move around. The opposite of this is the living entities which are stationary, trees, plants, etc. So the gopis are saying, aspandanam gatimatam. All the living entities who are moving living entities, they get into a state of aspandana, means they become stunned. They become so stunned, they are unable to move their limbs when they hear Krishna playing his flute. On the other hand, what happens to the tarus, the trees? Pulakas tarunam, the trees are living entities who are stationary. When the trees hear Krishna playing on his flute, what happens is they start shaking. So living entities who are moving, they become inert, they become stationary, and the stationary living entities like the trees and plants, they start moving, their whole body starts shaking in ecstasy. This is the situation in Vrindavan. Not only that, when the river Yamuna is flowing, when naturally, if you look at Yamuna, all rivers keep flowing. They have a current. The water keeps flowing. The moment Krishna starts playing his flute, the waters of the Yamuna stop flowing. And what happens? The water of the Yamuna becomes very agitated, and instead of flowing forward according to the current, they stop flowing and they become so agitated, they start swirling around like whirlpools. And then Yamuna picks up, the waters of Yamuna picks up the lotus flowers which are blooming within her waters and picks it up and flows towards Krishna to offer it to him. So even the water of the river, whether it is plants, whether it is animals, trees, all of them are attracted. They are so deep in attraction to Krishna that they forget their own original natures and start behaving in opposite ways. So this is a tremendous description of the love of the Vrajavasis towards Lord Krishna. And Prabhupada says in the purport, actually that is our natural position, to be attracted by Krishna, to be attracted to Krishna's form, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's holy name, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's instructions. This is the natural inclination of the living entity. And that is how all of you, after coming in touch with Srila Prabhupada's books, all of you are coming voluntarily, all of you are coming and rendering service in the temple. Today is I believe today is a holiday for the people. It's a long weekend, isn't it? So there are millions of people, they are all going out somewhere and all they are going. They may go out for a picnic, for a vacation. Somebody will go do all sorts of activities they will be doing. But all of you are forgetting all of that and coming to the temple. Why? Because that natural inclination is there in your heart. Nobody is forcing you. Nobody is putting a bind around you and saying that if you don't come, you'll get taxed. Right? Nobody is forcing you, but you are coming on your own. Why? Because Krishna is attracting you. You cannot help it. When Sunday comes, when a weekend comes, when a festival comes, you have to come to the temple. You don't even think of anything else. Isn't it? The thought even doesn't cross your mind that I should go somewhere else. Oh, others are going to some place of vacation. Somebody is going to some movie. Somebody is going to somewhere else, some Disney park and all that. But the thought doesn't come in your mind. As the week end approaches, you are waiting expectantly. Oh, now Sunday will come, Saturday will come. I'll go to the temple and have darshan of Krishna Balaram. Why? Because that natural inclination has been awakened. And that natural inclination, it is just a spark of the natural inclination that is actually existing in the spiritual world, what we can see in the character of the living entities in Braja. So even that small spark which has been ignited in our heart is so powerful, it pulls us away from all the material attraction. All the other people who have somehow, unfortunately, they have not come in touch with Krishna, they are still attracted by Maya so much that they cannot help but be pulled towards those material attractions. They cannot help it. But we, just because that spark has been ignited,
that indomitable force that is pulling the rest of the world stops acting upon us. It has no more influence upon us. Why? What is the reason? The reason for this is actually in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is mentioned that what is the reason for this? Why we get brainwashed, so to speak. Why we stop getting attracted by the material attractions which are so, they are so captivating for the conditioned living entities outside in the world. Why it doesn't attract us? Because smarantaha smarayantascha mitho agauga haram harim bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya bhibratyutpulakam tanum. The Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, it is stated that when a person smarantaha, he remembers Krishna's pastime, Krishna's form, Krishna's holy name, Krishna's instructions from the Bhagavad Gita, whenever he remembers that, whenever he practices remembering all these things, and not only remembering himself, smarantaha smarayantascha, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He not only remembers himself, he also shares with others. He makes others also remember about Krishna. And what he does, mitho agauga haram harim. Whom do they remember about? The Lord Hari, Krishna, who is aga oga haram. Aga means sinful reactions. Oga means a great vast quantity of any substance is called oga. So our lives are filled with aga oga. Whether our life is filled with wealth and money and status or not, whether it is or not, whether we are rich or poor, doesn't matter. One thing we have in plenty, in abundance we have. What is it? All our sinful reactions which have accumulated over so many lifetimes. So aga oga, our life is filled with aga. But simply by remembering the Supreme Lord Krishna and reminding our others about Krishna, what happens is aga oga haram. All those sinful reactions are taken away by Krishna. And then what happens is, when that attraction for Krishna awakens, when we come in touch with devotees, we come in touch with Prabhupada's books, start reading a little, what happens is, we feel some sort of connection. We feel, okay, let me go. These people are genuine people. They are doing a nice thing. They have such nice philosophy. They have such nice prasadam. Let me go there. You get attracted and you start coming on Sundays. This is what has happened to all of us. And when we start coming, what happens is, devotees are very kind. I remember when I initially started coming to the temple in Bangalore, came in touch with Vikram Krishna Prabhu and all that, and slowly read Prabhupada's books, started chanting, slowly started becoming a devotee. Then every Sunday, I would come to the temple. So I would come to the temple, attend Aarti nicely. After the Aarti, Bhagavatam class, I would sit in the Bhagavatam class. Chanchalapati Prabhu or Madhu Pandit Prabhu or one of the devotees would speak. I wouldn't understand anything. Everything is going as something and all they are speaking, not able to understand anything. But anyway, I would sit through. Why? Because after the Bhagavatam class, there is wonderful, tasty khichdi. And for that, I will sit and wait. So I would come Sundays and nicely eat the khichdi and then go home. Over. Ho gaya, kaam ho gaya. So I was coming 1 week, 2 week, 3 week. So devotees were all noticing. I didn't realize. All the other devotees are noticing. So one day I finished khichdi, washed my hand, and I was about to leave. One devotee called me, "Hey Prabhuji, come here, come here, come here." I said, I didn't know that devotee. So he was saying, "Yes, why are you calling me?" I said, Come. Little service is there." Service, huh? What service? All the mats devotees have sat. The devotees have all finished prasadam. Please wind up these mats and take them. I said, "Who, me? Wind up mat? In my home, I don't even pick up a plate. You are asking me to pick up mat?" Anyway, I did not know how to refuse. So slowly, with great, so much grief in my heart, I picked up the mat slowly, took it up, went and kept it in a place. Slowly, I started moving out of the door. Immediately, one voice came, "Hey, Prabhuji, where are you going? So many mats are still there." I said, okay, my God, where did I get caught up? So, okay, one more mat, two more mat. I said, finally put all the mats. And again started going. And again, hey, Prabhuji, where are you going? We have to wipe the floor. I was like, oh my God, where did I get caught? So, that was the beginning of my spiritual life. I had no inclination, no attraction. But devotees are so merciful. When you come to the temple, they will engage you in some service or the other. They will not let you go like that. This is the mercy of the Vaishnavas. So gradually with time, I also got the taste for serving, and naturally that service, this one also awakened within the heart. So when we come to the temple, what happens is, slowly devotees start engaging us in service, and gradually they also engage us in sadhana bhakti. We understand that, okay, we have to read so many times, we have to chant so many number of rounds, we have to come for Mangalarati, Darshanarati, etc. Slowly, we start engaging in sadhana bhakti. Now that sadhana bhakti, what it does to us is that it bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya. Interestingly, the Bhagavatam is saying, when we engage in bhakti, it bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya. That when we engage in bhakti, when we engage in devotional service, it generates bhakti. Bhakti generates bhakti. That is what the Bhagavatam says. Bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya. So what it means is, when we engage in sadhana bhakti like that, it generates bhava bhakti. So whatever you are all doing, right now, coming to the temple, doing mandira marjana, and cooking, somebody is cooking prasadam, somebody is doing deity worship, somebody is dressing Prabhupada, somebody is dressing the deities, somebody is wiping the floor, somebody is doing cleaning in the temple. When you are doing all these things, what is happening is, slowly, that service which you are doing is gradually purifying your heart, and it is generating the bhava which is naturally in your heart but which is dormant. And if you continue this process, what will happen? After a certain period of time, bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya, what will happen? Bibhratyu utpulakam tanum. When you chant Krishna's name, you will feel hair standing on end. Your body will start trembling. Tears will start flowing from your eyes. This is the natural consequence of engaging in devotional service to Krishna. And we will achieve the same state what is being described by Prabhupada and by the gopis of all the living entities in Vrindavan. So it's not something which is utopia or some thing which we speak of which is not accessible to us. It is none of those things. The only thing is simply, sincerely, committedly, you have to continue engaging in whatever you are doing. Nothing else is required. What will happen? Like Prahlad Maharaj is replying to his teachers about how did he develop this attraction for Krishna, he is giving a wonderful example. He is saying, Yatha ayaha, just as iron is attracted by magnet. It is a natural position of iron to get attracted to magnet. Isn't it? If you keep a magnet and if you keep a piece of iron and if it doesn't get attracted, what will you say? Hey, this is not iron. This is not iron. Why? Because it's not getting attracted. Iron means it has to get attracted. So, like that, Prahlad Maharaj says, exactly in the same way, our hearts are also designed to be attracted by Krishna. We have artificially put ourselves in a situation where we have forgotten that attraction. Now, to awaken that attraction, all that we have to do is simple things. Whatever you are doing, you have to continue doing that. That's all. Don't have to worry. Chant your rounds, clean the temple, spread the message. Whomever you see, you talk about Krishna. You remember Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad Gita and you remind others of instructions of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. You continue doing all these things. Gradually, you will see all those bhava, all this attraction for Krishna will keep on increasing. As you go on doing, what will happen? Your commitment to the temple and services will keep on increasing. Actually, your commitment, when you feel that so strongly, oh, I have to go to the temple. If I don't go to the temple, my service will get affected. Actually, that is the beginning of your attraction for Krishna. And so the formula is very simple, very easy. Even children can do this. All the children who are sitting here, for them also it is very easy. Come to the temple, have darshan of Krishna Balaram, sing and dance in front of him. They can also engage in simple tasks, some cleaning the temple floor and assisting some of the other devotees in their services. All this even children can do. This is the process of bhakti. It is so easy. No prior qualification is needed. And simply by doing this, our hearts will get cleansed, and bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya. It will generate bhava bhakti in our heart. And so, all these descriptions which are given in the Bhagavatam, like Prahlad Maharaj is saying, how iron gets attracted to magnet, how the trees start shivering, trembling when they hear Krishna's flute, and the gopis and the gopas and the cows, when they hear Krishna playing the flute, they become stunned. They are not able to move any of their limbs. All these things, we will also have access to that. That is what actually Prabhupada is offering all of us. Although the process may seem very simple, we may think, what is this? Every Sunday I am coming. Simply I am engaged in cleaning the floor. I am coming every Sunday to the temple. I am only cutting sabji. What has cutting sabji got to do with bhava for Krishna, bhakti for Krishna? Actually, it has got a very big connection. Whole life you keep cutting sabji. One day you will see, when you cut sabji, tears will come from your eyes. Not because you are cutting onion. We don't use anyway onion. But still the bhava will come, oh, I am cutting this sabji for Krishna. Krishna is so kind. He doesn't need all this sabji and all that, but he is so kind, he is ready to accept my small, humble, insignificant service. And to accept my service, Krishna is descended from Goloka Vrindavan and he has come here and he is standing here. Can you imagine this? Why should Krishna do this? But Krishna is so kind, so loving, he is doing this. So therefore, whenever we do even the smallest of service, it will bring about that change in our heart. And then, actually the process has been set in motion. You cannot reverse it. Your heart has started transforming. Now, no matter what anybody says, who says anything, they say talk about your brainwashing, yin-washing, all those kind of things, you cannot be shaken. This is what actually happens. At least in India, when we all started, of course, you are all working. You have your career. You are independently standing on your feet. So for you to come to Krishna consciousness and start serving, there is not so much of obstruction. But we all, when we were in our student life, when we were still with our parents and all that, when we started chanting Hare Krishna, going to the temple and all that, so much opposition. People, friends will oppose, relatives will oppose, friends will all start making fun of us. What is wrong with you, yaar? That you must also be facing. Children especially, all of you will face at school. Hey, what is this? You are painting your nose and all these kind of things. If you wear tilak, that's what the response you will get. But despite all that, we could not help it. Although opposition, parents are scolding, relatives, uncles will come and sarcastically talk to us. The friends will stop talking to us. They will start taking us into their, into whatever activity they are doing. They will start, this guy is some outcast. They start treating us outcast. Still, we cannot help it. No matter, everybody isolates us. Still, we cannot help it. We have to chant. We have to read Prabhupada's books. We have to go into the temple and do service. We cannot help it. That is the state we have come to. So imagine, this is just the spark. If this itself is so powerful that no material force in the world can stop us, sometimes even what happens is some devotees want to come and join the temple. The relatives come and take them away and then put them in a hospital, show a psychiatrist, inject drugs and try to change his mind. That they will bind him to that room and all that. After 15 days, something they'll open the door, he'll say, I want to go to the toilet, and he'll run away. All these people do, still they cannot prevent. So imagine this is the spark. Now if the full fire starts blazing in our heart, what will happen? So that day will come. We don't have to worry. We have to just execute, keep doing what we are doing. We don't have to do anything new. Bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya. Yatha ayaha, just as iron gets attracted to magnet, just as all the living entities and even water, stones, etc., even these things, they become attracted to Krishna. So naturally, our attraction also will awaken in the heart. This is what Prabhupada has given us. This is the wonderful gift that Prabhupada has given us. So we should take it with all sincerity and all seriousness and continue our services with the understanding that what result is awaiting us is something very, very sublime. So I'll stop here. We have 5 minutes. Any question is there, we can discuss. Everybody is in ecstasy. Yes, Mataji. Explaining about? Yes. Hmm. Before that? Ah. Yeah, so the Lord appears in front of our eyes in a form which the devotee desires to reciprocate, relate with the Lord with. So definitely Bhishma Deva had a great appreciation for the two-handed form of Krishna itself. In his prayers he glorifies Krishna, and the gopis also he glorifies. So that means Bhishma Deva had a great appreciation for Krishna only. But of course, because of the Vidya Rasa, he appreciated more of Krishna as Parthasarathi. But Krishna as Parthasarathi is also the two-handed form of Krishna only. So that way, and when Krishna came and stood in front of Bhishma Deva also, it was Krishna who came and stood, not Narayana. So that way we can understand that Bhishma Deva was definitely attracted by the two-handed form of Krishna. Is that okay? Does that answer the question? Bhishma Dev, where he went, I don't know. Like I mentioned last time, we understand that Bhishma and the Pandavas are all eternally within this material world, going wherever Krishna is appearing, and they keep engaging in pastimes with the Lord in those respective places. So they are not personalities who will permanently reside in the spiritual world. You see, there are different classes of pure devotees also. There are some pure devotees who always remain in the material world to serve the Lord and His incarnations in their pastimes within the material universe. Then there are living entities who sometimes are in the spiritual world, sometimes in the material world. They keep coming and going. They don't have permanent residence in the spiritual world. Then there are living entities who have permanent residence in the spiritual world in Vaikuntha Loka. And then there are living entities who have permanent residence in Goloka Vrindavan, who are the topmost devotees. So, although there are gradations as far as the pure devotees are concerned, still, in one sense, all of them are pure devotees, all of them are full in their hearts with love for Krishna, Narayana, Vishnu, whatever. So that's how we understand. Is that okay? So we'll stop here. Thank you. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.